Move when it feels natural to move. Be still when it feels natural to be still. This is the natural way. We've trained ourselves, conditioned ourselves to act in pretty unnatural ways, to act in accordance with the mind-identified world of conceptual conditioning, of identification with a mind, and identification with a body, and identification with a past and a future. The sum total of these identifications is a sort of distanced experience from the natural flow of things. The cost of that is this underlying sense that something isn't right, something's off. It feels heavy, it feels contracted. And the longer we ignore that deeper prompting, that yearning for living more in concert with the natural movements, the heavier it gets and the more contracted it gets and the more uncomfortable it gets. This is grace, ultimately, because this leads us to some sort of investigation into the nature of ourselves, into the nature of presence. Leads us to inquire, leads us to let go. Sometimes it's through desperation, sometimes it's through intention, sometimes it's through a combination. But what this results in is we get a very direct, immediate, unmistakable taste of what it is to be completely in harmony. To be completely in harmony means even the boundaries between self and world dissolve. The boundaries between doer and action dissolve. And we see from the other side that there are no sides, there are no boundaries, there's no coming and going, there's no problem. And this tremendous weight is lifted. We know now there is some possibility, a natural way of being, of experiencing, that doesn't require identifying, doesn't require struggle, doesn't require pushing and pulling on life. That one taste is a very powerful movement. It has side effects. Some of the side effects are we remember it, or the mind remembers it, and we get a little hypnotized by those thoughts, and we seek it with mental activity, which doesn't do much but keep us distracted with thoughts, concepts, seeking, etc. It kind of hypnotizes us in the belief that whatever that was happened in the past, and hopefully in the future we can get it back, or we can have it all the time. You can see the illusory nature of all of those sorts of thoughts and concepts and seeking activities of mind, because it's right here, of course. Never gone anywhere, never could go anywhere, can't be missed, can't be lost, can't be gained. That's the beauty of it. That's the freedom of it. But it's also the disappointment, because isn't it disappointing to find out there's nothing to seek? Because seeking assumes time. It assumes it's not already here. Which, thank goodness, it really is already here. Thank goodness that those thoughts aren't accurate. That you'd have to create this. You'd have to construct this out of thoughts and concepts and effort. Thank goodness that's not the case. But it still feels like a lot to let go of when we let go of all those possibilities, all those fantasies. It's actually letting go of quite a bit, because those fantasies of future, those illusions of control, are completely interwoven with the sense of a separate self. a real self, an actual self, and interwoven with the very fundamental belief that there's a self apart from a world, an internal apart from an external. It's all interwoven together, and fundamentally it's all conceptual. But there's something more fundamental than all that, luckily. And we know it. That's what I'm referring to as the natural way, the natural state. These words are okay in this context, but I also don't want to give the mind some kind of anchor that there's some perfect state or perfect way, because it's not like that either. It's neither perfect nor imperfect. It's just nothing the mind can grasp. So this is a double-edged sword to speak in this way, because it will always give the mind something to grasp, if it grasps. And yet what I'm talking about is ingraspable, but there's no need to grasp either. There's nothing that can grasp. It's a sort of free fall, but it's a beautiful free fall. It's a sublime free fall. It's an endless free fall. It's a beginningless free fall. Inward, outward, where inward and outward aren't two. That's the natural way. And you have access to it, 100%. But it has to do with stopping the seeking mechanism one way or another. It has to do with stopping the dividing mechanism. There's nothing in there to defend. There's nothing in there to uphold. There's nothing to find out there. There's nothing to push away out there. If you can stay in that gap long enough, then all of this will be clear. The doubt will be eradicated. The clarity will be ongoing.